the session on basics of statistics. So let's start with the definition of statistics. So statistics is a branch of mathematics dealing with the collection of data, analysis of data, interpretation of data, how you present your data, and how you organize your data. So that is a basic definition of statistics. And if you look at the two broad categories in which statistics is divided, it is one is the descriptive statistics and another is the inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics has components like measure of central tendency, measure of spread, measure of shape, and inferential statistics has components like confidence interval and a test of significance, or the hypothesis testing. Descriptive statistics uses the data to provide the description of the population either through the numerical calculations or graphs or the tables, whereas the inferential statistics makes the inferences and the predictions about the population based on the sample of data taken from the population itself. So here we were talking totally about the descriptive statistics. So, and one of the component of it is like when we talk about is the characteristics of frequency distribution, where we have the components like modality, symmetry, central tendency, and the variability. So we will be going through each one of these in the coming slides. So let's start with the measure of central tendency. The first component, it is like mean, which is basically the average of all the values. You sum of all the following data. Let's say assume we have data like 10, 20, 30, 20, 40, 20, and 10. And when we sum it up, that it is around 150. Number of terms here is 7. So the mean will be 150 divided by 7, which comes out to be 21.42. That is your mean. So for median, the formula is n plus 1 divided by 2. If your number of values or the number of your terms is odd, then the median is the middle value when you arrange the data in the ascending order. And if the number of values is even, then the median is the average of two middle values when arranged in the ascending order. One of the most important characteristics of median is that it is not affected by the outliers or the extreme values. So let's take one example of median. How do we calculate it? Let's say we have the data which is given on the screen right now, and we have what we have done here, we have arranged them in the ascending order. Here if you look at the number of data is odd, so the middle value which is coming out after arranging in ascending order is 20. This is how you calculate your median. The next time what we are going to talk about is the mode, which is the most frequently occurring value. Let's assume what value which is given on the shown on the screen is like, so here if you look at the 20 is the most frequently occurring value, which is occurring 3 times in this entire data set. This is how you calculate your mode. Let's move to the session, which is nothing but your measure of spread. Here let's assume that we have the following set of data like 49, 50, 58, 58 again, 60, 62, 66, 68, 70, and 72. So when you take an average, as we just saw in the previous slide, the average which is coming out of it is 61.3. So range, how do you calculate range? So range is nothing but your maximum value minus minimum value. So maximum value here is 72 and the minimum is 49, and range is like coming out to as 23. So when we calculate the variance, so variance is calculated from your following with this help of this formula. So it is nothing but the summation of your difference of each value with the average, and you square it up. So in this case, so my individual values are 49 minus your average whole square plus 50 minus average whole square. So we do it for each individual values, and then we divide by total number of terms minus 1. So what value what we get is a variance. So, and then we have the standard deviation, which is nothing but the positive square root of this variance. So when you take a square root of 7.89, the positive value will be your standard deviation. The next is the measure of shape. Measure of shape describe how the data is distributed. It takes into account two things like symmetry and the modality. So modality basically talks about how your shape of the curve is. Like when we say there's a bell-shaped curve or there is a shape of the curve. So if it has only one peak, then we say it is a unimodal curve. If it has two peaks, then we say it is a bimodal curve. And if it has more than two, then it is multimodal. And again, when we talk about symmetry, it is like either it is symmetric or asymmetric. And then asymmetric is again like either it is positive skewed or negative skewed. We'll talk about this symmetry in next slide. So let's talk about first of all the difference between the skewness and the kurtosis value. So skewness is basically the measure of symmetry, or more precisely the lack of symmetry. Skewness measure typically ranges from -3 to +3. So when we say the value of skewness as 0, that is you are considered as a perfect normal curve. Moment you deviate from 0, either on negative side or plus side, you will have a positive or negative skewness respectively. And kurtosis is nothing but a measure of how tall your data is, or how the this curve is. So it ranges from -3 to +3. So when you say kurtosis value of 3, it is said to be having a perfect standard normal distribution. The moment you move greater than 3, it is leptokurotic, and if it is less than 3, it is pletokurotic. So this is the graph which is showing. So green one is the normal bell curve having a kurtosis value of 3. Moment red one having a more than 3 value of kurtosis, and blue one having less than 3 value. Then we have the skewness. If it is symmetric, then your mean is equal to median is equal to mode. But if it is asymmetric, then it is left skewed or it is right skewed. But if it is left skewed, which is also known as negative skewness, in which your median is greater than your mean, and if it is right skewed, then your mean is greater than your median. I have shown the difference here in the picture itself. Then comes the how you calculate this shape. So there are multiple tools, like we use the dot plot, we have the box plot, which is also known as box and whisker diagram, and we have the stem and leaf plot. So let's look at each one of these. So first is the dot plot. So let's assume that we have the following set of data, which is mentioned over here. So what we do here, we plot each individual value on the scale, and see where we mark say 48, then we have marked the 50 on that number line, and similarly we create a dot out of it. So it is nothing but a graphical display of data using dots. This is how it is done basically. Then we have the box and the whisker diagram. So here we are giving the quartiles are given by Q1, Q2 and Q3. So Q2 is the median, and when you talk about the Q1 value is usually defined as the median, which is less than equal to Q2, and Q3 is the median, which is a value which is greater than equal to Q2. And the next term what we calculate is the interquartile range, which is called IQR, which is nothing but Q3 minus Q1. I'll let you give an example of how do we calculate this Q1, Q2 and Q3 and the IQR. So some software packages, other than extending the whiskers to the maximum minimum value, terminates them at 1.5 QR above Q3 and Q4. So it depends upon what software packages you are using to calculate, to draw this box plot. So let's take a particular example of this thing. We have data after sorting like 63, 65, 67, 69, 70, 71, 73, 76, 77, 77, 81 and 85. Here the lowest value is 63 and highest value is 85. So how to calculate Q2? So Q2 is the middle values, which since they are the odd number of terms, so we will take it as 71 and 75. The average is coming out as 73. Q1 will be the median of 63 and the 73, which is coming in as 68. And Q3 will be 76 and 76, which is again 76. And IQR will be Q3 minus QR, which is equal to 5. And last but not least is the stem and leaf plot. The stem and leaf plot is constructed much like the tally column, where we have done like what values are falling under which category. So this is the kind of diagram you often use when the data are grouped. The stem and leaf diagram conveys more information than the tally column here. The stem and leaf plot is a special table where each data value is split into stem, the first digit or a digit, and leaf usually represents the last digit. Let's see an example. On the left side, we have an entire set of data like 15, 16, 21, 23, 23, 26, so on. So we have taken the first letter. Say for example, here it shows the number 32 has been selected, 3 have been taken as a stem, and 2 has been taken as a leaf. Again, if you look at the previous number 30, again we have a stem of 3 and leaf of 0. This is how you do stem and leaf graph.